everyone. You know what I am? Hideous. Do you know what else I am? Married. How do I distract Jen so she doesn't realize what a mistake she made? I give her flowers all the time. And now, with our sponsor, Pro Flowers, you can too. Seriously, I bring flowers home to Jen all the time, and she loves it. So you know someone in your life will enjoy a bouquet for no reason, too. The last batch of Pro Flowers we got in the office were lush and beautiful. If I'm lying, I'm dying. These puppies look great. Pro Flowers wants to help you surprise someone for no reason at all, while also surprising you with a special deal. Get 20% off any of their unique summer rose bouquets or any other bouquet for $29 or more. Bouquets are guaranteed to stay fresh for at least 7 days or your money back, and you control the delivery date. So don't wait to get 20% off summer roses or any other bouquet for $29 or more. Go to proflowers.com and use my code Greggy at checkout. That's proflowers.com, my code Greggy at checkout. Don't wait to make somebody's day. Nick.
Yeah.
What's topic number 3?
Topic number 3 has to do with small children.
How many we can
technology, right?
With a computer.
With a computer. I see this all the time now. I see kids with cell phones, like playing with their parents' cell phones and all that stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is this doing to these children? Like, at what point... granted, none of us are parents, so we really shouldn't weigh in on this, but we're going to do it anyway because it's our fucking show. We'll do what we want. And if you have a problem
Kevin and I
with
are going to be.
suck it.
Together.
At what point do you think it's appropriate to give a kid a cell phone?
Well,
Immediately.
Okay.
It's a tough conversation.
What I want to dial it back, I want background information when you got your first cell phone.
I mean, I'm old, so I didn't get my
I'm
first
old.
cell phone until college. I had a Nokia, the first
Yeah, you did a
generation.
little blue
Nokia.
one on it, right?
The
Yep,
blue
yeah, I had that one too.
Yeah,
I
chuck
got
that into
that
the fucking
probably, you're talking circa 2000, 2001.
When I got my license at 16, there was my mom put the second cell phone or whatever, her old cell phone,
Right.
into the glove box. I don't count that with the exception that my number kept going with that. So I had that in the glove box for emergencies, which of course would never help you because the battery's going to be dead and like you have to pull it out and charge it and you're fucking on fire car, I guess. I don't know what else going to happen. But it was that sophomore year at college at Mizzou at the end of the year, beginning of the year, I got the blue Nokia mailed down to me.
Yeah.
And because I remember it was that at the end of freshman year, we were at the Antler House and Adam White walked in with a new phone. We're all like, whoa, like fancy
Like,
guy
"What's
over
up,
here
rich
with
kid,
his cell
fucking
phone.
Chad?"
And then that next year, my mom was like, I'm mailing you one. Like, you need to have one to get in touch.
Yeah.
And I remember I took a terrible photo of Goose on Rosemary Lane because I was walking down playing with this phone. It was the first
Of a Goose.
No,
his
the
friend
man
Goose.
Goose.
You were
big
hanging
guy.
out
The
with
man goose.
He ran the Antlers when I
Anthony
first got there.
Edwards?
It was
Okay.
Right,
Goose.
he was huge, right?
Oh yeah, he was big. He was a
okay.
big fat guy.
Dude, the punch the.
Well, no.
No?
You're thinking of Travis. Goose was just a fat guy, shorter
a
than
lot
me.
of fat guys in the Antlers.
Hence, I mean, I totally stole Team Fat from them, and they've never sued me.
Well,
so
if they come at us, we're fucked because
Nah,
they're big
done.
guys.
No, they're not anymore. Now they're all cowards. They got kids. We know how to hit them hard.
That's terrible.
So in sophomore year, got that phone, and I also remember this is still in the time too. I don't know how much you had to deal with it. Of like, all right, cool. I'm gonna text whoever. Oh, it's a long distance number. I'm gonna call whoever.
I remember.
Oh, it's a long distance number. Like, fuck. Is anybody from that area code? Can someone else call this person?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely remember that.
I remember that was a problem for way too long.
Yeah, and we were even fucked because we had different area codes.
So my
that.
phone would have been 2002 then. What about you
Well,
guys?
how old were you then?
I was sophomore in college, so 19.
20. All right, 19. And then how old were you?
I was. I probably would have been 20. Wait, that can't be right because I'm way older than you are.
So you're like
How old are you?
decidedly older
Like
than
2
me.
years older than
Me?
you.
Yeah.
29. 34. I'm 34.
Okay, that's about right. I'm 37. So maybe mine was a little earlier. Mine may have been 98, 99 ish.
How old were you though? 18?
Probably 18, 19. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
somewhere around there. Somewhere around 20 was when I got a cell phone for the first time.
I want to say I was probably 16.
Okay.
So my parents were always really cheap. No.
No, they lived
they
lavish
weren't
life
cheap.
once.
They
They were
were
very
cheap.
cheap, yeah.
I was 14 when I started going to community college. And it wasn't like,
You started going to community college at 14?
yeah,
Okay.
it was like the
Side
like,
classes or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. For state. Like I
Wow.
knew that was my plan.
Okay,
so it
okay.
was like, do your PE now because it's like summer and you can knock it out.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, it sucked. I didn't have a summer.
But you had some sweet ass arrow lessons.
Dude, man, I could shoot an arrow. You know what I mean?
Did you have to do like the bowling class?
Let's go hunt, man.
You didn't have to.
No, I mean like for PE. PE in high school taught us
No,
bowling.
the-
Flunk the fuck out of that. I can't. Bowling's so hard to fucking count?
Especially
if you're bad at math.
Yeah, it's dumb. Anyways, so yeah, somewhere around 14, maybe 15.
Tim, when'd you get your phone?
8th grade. I was 13, the year 2003, and I got that fucking sweet, nasty Motorola T720.
Can I see a photo of it?
Was that the flip one?
I
Does it
do.
flip?
It's not the Motorola Razr, which is just
which he
No,
got
that was after
later.
this.
Oh man,
No,
when you got
I never got a Razr. I was a T720 dude.
No.
T721.
Didn't you get a Razr eventually?
I loved that fucking phone.
I was in a
The
Razr.
Razr was cool.
Didn't someone have a Razr,
So
Greg?
this phone. For
Dude, no,
everybody,
you
Google
definitely
it.
had a Razr. I
I've
think
never
you had
had
a
a
blue
Razr.
Razr.
Never had a Razr. I didn't have a Razr. Didn't have a Razr. Don't know what to tell you.
I think you're wrong.
What's up?
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, but Google it, the Motorola T720. It was like the first next gen phone because it was the flip phone. But then the Razr was the one that came in, and that was like
Changed the fucking game.
This was the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Oh,
then-
ahead of its time.
And
All
then
right.
that was
Yeah.
like the Xbox. Or
I
whatever.
remember I got that black Razr after I had graduated and started working at the Tribune, and I was out on assignment or something, and I pulled it out in this like it was I forget what I was at school and there was all these kids, and I pulled it out and went like that, and these kids lost their fucking mind. I suddenly became the coolest adult in the
Well,
world.
the Razr, that was the first really
Fucking cool
expensive,
phone, yeah.
pricey thing with commercials that
Yeah,
made it
yeah,
look
yeah.
cool.
It was also very cool looking.
Yeah.
It was a dope phone.
Yeah.
Definitely. And just how thin it was. Like, that was when it became a big thing about
God.
how small the phone could possibly
Yeah.
be. Because the big one with mine was it was in the line of the first phones that had the polyphonic ringtones instead of MIDI. So you could actually buy ringtones that were.
Songs.
They still weren't songs,
Right.
because
But they sounded like it.
later. But it sounded more like it than just the like. It sounded more like a Super Nintendo than a Nintendo.
right.
I want to say I had one of the. Actually, I think I did have one of those. I think I got that after
We're
the
looking.
Nokia.
It's coming
And
around.
what was great about this phone is that you can take the cover off and replace it with like custom
Oh.
tops and
Right,
shit.
that's
So it's like
right.
everyone had it, and everyone like would
Man, think
trade
about
their
that.
cases.
Think about that industry for a second, right? That like the industry that would like Bejewel and all that
Chinatown,
stuff.
that
And
makes
now that
so
shit's
easy.
all gone. It's all gone.
Well, it's all just replaced.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
Yeah,
replaced by
well, it's
cases and things like that.
cases,
But,
yeah.
but you remember, like, for instance, I used to drive by this place. There used to be, like, all these stores, like, for beepers. Remember that? And you'd get, like, different bodies for the beeper, all that stuff.
I don't
Dude,
remember.
it was, like, a big deal for, like, 10 years. And then cell phones demolished that. And now smartphones have demolished
Fucking
all of the
fidget
cell
spinners
phones.
everywhere.
Well, I remember
Like, do they
when
even sell Blackberries anymore?
I remember when
Yeah,
mom
BlackBerry does have a phone. But
when my mom got the first cell phone for the family or whatever, and it was when I think not when Graham was sick, but it was when Poppy was getting sick, whatever. When her parents were starting to go, and it was one of those that came in like a bag. That she had this like bag that you like had to unzip the top of like an old camcorder bag and open up and then bring out the
dude, from
receiver
like
and
the
it was
Lethal
connected.
Weapon phone,
Yeah.
where he's like, yeah, man, he must be a
It
lethal
was
weapon.
fucking huge, yeah, but it was how you had to do it at the time. Anyways, so now, 2017.
Yeah.
When do you think? How old should a kid be to have a phone?
Yeah. I mean, Tim, you answered immediately. Just put the phone in the kid's hand.
I
and let
mean,
him go.
going back, like looking at my life and going back to the last topic we just talked about, one of the biggest hurdles in my life is that I didn't know how to use a computer when everyone else around me did. So guess what? Phones aren't going anywhere. The internet's not going anywhere.
kind of a must-have skill
It's a
set.
must-have in a way that like I feel like people should learn how to use this stuff effectively and efficiently as soon as possible.
Are
It's a
we
language.
are we counting iPads in this equation?
Yeah, it's all
Because what I
shit.
see now is when I go to the
Well,
restaurant and the kid is on the iPad.
I would
he's
say
like 3
anything
or
that can
whatever.
get on the internet. Anything
Okay.
that, anything
An
that can allow
internet-enabled
kids to
device?
look at all the horrors and
Or-
majesty of the internet.
What about just like if it's not on the internet, but playing like one of the like any game?
well, first off, it's fucked up if you're like you can have a cell phone, but you give the kid the flip phone.
Well, I mean,
No,
like
that's the thing.
well,
Like,
no,
that's
still
what,
get
that's
that.
what I
Mine-
want to do with my kids is for like I agree that they should have their phone like a phone right away, just because I think people should be accessible
My
at every point.
my knee jerk answer to this question would be before we start getting the weeds of it would be as soon as the kid's going off and doing things without me.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, of like you just playing in the woods, doing whatever the fuck. Like when you, I don't need to be holding your little pudgy fucking hand and walking you around
Right.
the goddamn playground, acting
that's
like I'm
like-
having a good time.
I
when I
still
should be playing
think that
Uncharted
that's-
8.
That time should be for the like flip phone, where it's like it can do phone calls, it has no games on it.
But when's the
it
kid
doesn't-
gonna get off on their own? What are they gonna do? Like if they're out of my sight for that long, they're with a babysitter or somebody.
Where they stole your credit card, ordered an Uber, and they're
Wait, you're saying are you on the same page with me where they go off on their own?
Well, yeah. When they go off their own, so
Okay.
they have
Now I'm with you.
accessibility to call. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think that like games or
Well, you
internet should be
you can put
super
things on
accessible.
that, right? You can
Yeah,
lock
but
it.
like there's always ways around that.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
But see, I think you're also
Always.
forgetting the fact that Tim's right? Like you can only control what your kid does. You want to let your kid go off. You want to put a chip in him like a dog or whatever, so you can like find him and shock him whenever the fuck you
100%.
want. Like that's something you could do, right?
I don't think legally you can.
Gray area. You know what I mean? Gray area.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's both
gray
ways.
area. Yeah.
I want to pull the car over for a second, put on the emergency flashers, and tell a story that's somewhat related to what just happened, but not at all related to the topic. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
That type of
100%,
segue, Greg,
yeah.
how
Let's
can we
do
say
it.
no?
I climb into the
I'm
Uber
intrigued.
a couple weeks ago. Gonna go home. Get in there, right onto the phone, answering emails, doing Slack stuff, whatever. You know what I mean? Driving. And about halfway home, some traffic accrues. And so it's a stop, and we have a moment to catch our breath, and I'm finally like, doing that thing where you're like, rubbing the bridge of your nose, put the phone in the pocket. Like, I'm just going to look out the window and relax for the next 10 minutes, whatever. As I do this, my driver looks back in the mirror and he goes, Greg, I just feel like we never got a chance to connect on this ride. And I laugh. I'm like, that's a funny thing to say. Like, yeah, I know, man. The work never stops. He's like, no, I understand. And it was that thing of like, all right, cool, we're going to leave it at that. That was just a funny joke. I can see myself saying something like that to somebody who's doing work and being busy. Mm-hmm. And instead we go another minute and a half and he just goes, so Greg, how do you feel about chips in humans?
You're like, let me out of the car,
Microchips
sir.
or RFIDs? Did he explain?
He explains. Trust me. Let me.
let you get there.
I had gone back on my phone at this point. I put it in my pocket. And I knew his name, Daryl. I forget what it was. Put it in my hand. I'm like, Daryl, you're talking about like the things you put under your skin that you can check yourself out with or get yourself into your apartment or whatever. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to be wave one. I'm not going to be gen one of that technology, but I'm not going to hold it against anybody who wants to do that themselves. And he's like, I'm like, what do you think, Daryl? And he's like, I got one in me.
There it is.
And I'm like, oh, you do? Like, oh. And I'm like, tell me more about that. He's like, oh, well, it was put in there against my will.
Oh, well.
And I was like,
By the aliens? Did the aliens
all
put it in
right.
there?
The
Close.
government,
I'm like,
CIA
all
government.
right. And he's like, yeah. And the story goes, abridged, that Daryl has this friend who has this new friend. And Daryl goes over to the new friend's place, and they're with their
No
crew.
new friends, that's the rule.
They're the crew. They're drinking out of red Solo cups. Daryl makes this clear. They're drinking Jack Daniels. And at some point, the new friend comes over with a shot glass filled with what Daryl assumes was Jack Daniels, and says, "Hey, this is just to welcome you to the crew." And Daryl's like, "All right, man, thanks." And he shoots it. And then like 5-10 minutes goes by, and Daryl's like, "I don't feel good. I'm feeling like I gotta go to bed now. I'm gonna go to bed now." He's like, he tells his friend, "I'm gonna go." And the old friend and new friend are like, "No, dude, you can't. You've been drinking. You gotta sleep here. You gotta stay here." And Daryl's like, "All right." And Daryl says they pile together clothes to make him a little bed. Daryl lays down. Next thing Daryl knows, he wakes up with the new friend on top of him, and then Daryl is puking. To which Daryl is like, "What's going on?" He's like, "You're getting sick. We were trying to." He's like, "Okay." And he runs to the bathroom, continues to get sick there. Then when he's done getting sick, he comes up and looks in the mirror. His ear is bleeding. He comes out. He's like, "What the fuck happened to my ear? Why is my ear bleeding?" New friend says, "You fell down." And Daryl's like, "I was asleep. How did I fall down?" He's like, "I don't know, man. You got up and you fell down, and and then you started puking." And Daryl's like, "All right, man. I don't know about that." Literally, that's what story's left with me. And then it's like, and so he's like, "So long story short, I have a microchip in my head." And I was like, "What does that mean?"
Head
He's-
injuries could lead to ear bleeding and puking.
He's
So
like-
that's not crazy.
I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, you know how I was complaining." Well, he's like, "Well, I started hearing things and seeing things." And I was like, "All right." And
Also a sign of a concussion.
and I'm like, "All right." And he's like, "So I went in to the doctor to get the MRI, the CAT scan." And I was like, "All right." And I'm like, and he's like, he went into the doctor to get the MRI, the CAT scan. And, these new chips, they're made of silicone. They can't be seen by the MRI, the CAT scan. And I was like, "So did the MRI find it?" He's like, "No, we can't find it because it's silicone and it's grafted inside of my head to my nerves in both my ear and my eyes." And I said, "Okay."
Lord.
And he's like, and I'm like, "So what are you seeing? What are you hearing?" He's like, "Well, what it is the government recording me. Obviously, they're watching what I'm doing and stuff."
They want to know your
But
thoughts.
this is where Daryl makes it interesting.
This is where it gets.
This is where it gets
Yeah.
interesting. Daryl tells me that he's finally figured out that his visions are the camera working both ways. So they can see what he's doing, but he can see them, what they're doing. He's like, "I see them in lab coats.
Not how
I
cameras
see
work.
them walking around with lab coats.
Transmitters, Nick.
One of the women has high heels." And I said, "All right, cool." I'm like, "How often do you see these things, Daryl?" He says, "All the time." He's seeing it right there. At which point I was like, "Oh, well, this is my stop off. Sorry that happened to you." And I got out of the car.
It's a good call.
yeah.
It's a good strong
Jeez, I
call.
hope he wasn't driving to your house.
I got out early.
Yeah. I that's one of those situations where if that had happened to me, I'd be like, who do I have to call to get this person off the road? Because that person is not mentally sound.
There's a lot of problems. At any point in that story, I thought you were just gonna be like, and that's the plot of some movie.
Oh, I thought he was fucking with us too. I thought he was
Yeah.
like, I thought he was like, how? Let's see how
was like,
long the
there's
story
no
can
way
go.
great story
because at
is
some point
staying
I was like,
online.
is Grandma Miller
Yeah.
coming back in to find
Sorry,
a
my
fucking
apologies.
coded
No, I know
story?
I've set that up for myself with my own storytelling abilities.
But that's
no.
a real story.
That's a real story that happened.
What?
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
At what
yeah.
point during that did you think this guy is going to drug me, or maybe I already have a chip in
And he
me?
might-
Well, what I did is that
some bone
the
collector
problem
shit right
was is that Daryl had a brand new car we were in, and he's registered through Uber, and he seems like a nice guy. And so, as I've reflected on this story, as I often do, not often enough, since I forgot to tell any of you the story, but I told Jen as soon as I got back, is maybe Daryl is in line with me. Maybe Daryl is. I don't know. You know what? We've been driving for 15 minutes. We're halfway to this guy, whatever's going to happen. We're stuck in traffic. I'm going to fuck with this guy. We haven't connected much on this. Now we haven't. Here's this fucking random ass story about me getting microchipped and seeing both ways.
That's some shit that you would do.
That's what I'm saying.
and you're unique.
And
very
a lot of people.
Snowflake.
maybe-
No, I don't think that a lot of people would do that.
No.
Remember
Most
the ant
100%
thing I was
no.
talking about today? A lot of people would do that.
What ant thing?
The ant thing and the flowers. Your mom gets the flowers. She's all excited. The ant's coming
no,
out.
that was another one of your moments where it's like, Jesus.
That's the thing, though. Daryl never broke. Daryl never broke. He never laughed. At the end, he shook my hand and didn't like.
I mean, were you not uncomfortable?
No.
There's pretty early on in that story, I was uncomfortable just hearing you say it.
Sure.
Being in an Uber with this dude.
Yep.
I don't like Uber drivers talking to me, period.
Yeah, of course.
If they start saying some fucking shit like that,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I would ask.
How many stars did you give him?
Totally forgot to leave the review.
Probably not
Oh,
too
I
many.
would have loved that review. That would have been a fun
Well, I
one.
meant to do it of like, hey, this guy doesn't. Something's weird. I don't know. But
Something's
then,
weird. I don't know. He thinks he has a microchip in his head.
well, you know.
Well, he's pretty sure of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got compelling evidence.
I'm just trying to figure out how in this guy's mind he was like, I was out for 30 minutes and they did brain surgery on me without leaving any marks.
Nick, I'm sure there's some sort of tool you just put in. Done.
That's it.
Connected
They
to
grafted
the
it to your
nerves.
nerves.
To connect to my eye and ear.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Easily accessible. He's making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
How did it get past the eardrum? I don't know.
Nobody knows. It went through and through the nose and the ear at the same time. Surgical vibrancy.
The nose is actually a good call, but he was
Nose.
bleeding out of the ear.
Well,
so.
maybe he did it actually.
So my
fall.
apologies. I'm taking the flashers off. We can get back on the highway here as we
Okay.
were talking about this thing. So we're back on.
I don't remember what the topic was. Oh, the kids, right?
Kids
Yeah,
with cell
yeah.
phones.
When they get their cell phones.
So Tim says immediately, I say don't give them a cell phone and just put a chip in their eye socket so you can hear and listen to everything.
Oh, the
they
Daryl
say.
chip we've heard so much
Yeah.
about on the news recently.
Sounds like a good plan to me, right? If you know where your kid is at all times,
And they
you're
can just see
already listening.
you pop up like, come home.
Like imagine if your kid's first sexual experience, right?
Oh, no.
It's
Why?
you got a
Why would
little
you wanna
boy,
imagine that?
And he's gonna make out with a girl for the first time, and she starts to touch his penis, and he's like, "This is fantastic." And you're like, "Should I fuck with this kid right now or not?" I'm watching this happen. It might be illegal,
Nick's
but I'm
just at
watching
home
it.
like
Most
this.
certainly.
And then
Most
you-
certainly is
then you
illegal.
pop up and you're like,
every aspect.
you pop up and you're like, the devil is in your penis. You know what I mean?
Why would
Like
you
the
scar them for life?
Why not? It's hilarious. And
'Cause
then
they're gonna
every
be a
year
human
after that, they're
being
like, remember that time
eventually.
I fucked up your first time you were gonna have sex, and I can't. I was you were watching me watching you. That's fucked up, right?
And Tim brings up a really good point in that if you don't give them your kids accessibility to technology, then they are behind. And I think that I hadn't thought about that. Like that is a real I don't want my kid to be all day playing on stuff, but at the
But
same
they're
time,
going to be there, right? Because you're putting the world's most addictive legal technology in the hands of a brain that's not formed yet. Like, what does that do to a kid?
Well,
I
I mean-
think that it's another thing where the grass is always greener and you're trying to get the thing that you can't have. The moment you have it,
Sure.
it's less like
not everyone is like that though.
Oh, no,
Some
but
people
I
fall
think
in
kids
and
are
become
fucking
addicted.
idiots.
I think a lot of kids are, though, right?
I think most kids are.
Most
I think
people
kids
are.
are this.
Even us in technology.
I don't think
I
it's
can't wait
understanding
for PS4, Switch, whatever, some device, and you get it, and it's great, and then it just becomes part of your life, and it's like, oh, I haven't played the Switch in X number of weeks or whatever. Which
no,
isn't
I'm
true,
sorry.
of course.
I did
but,
misunderstand
God, I'm
that.
so excited for
I
the
would
Switch
say
tonight.
yes when it comes to
Download
things
that
that
game
are.
yet?
Yeah.
I would say yes when it comes to things like that, but for whatever reason, the cell phone is different. The cell phone is like, we're
I think-
all addicted to these
So
cell
The
phones.
cell phone, I would put there's restraints, I'm sure, and I know that the kid could break through when he wants to, or
Yeah.
she could wants to.
But I guess that's learning something important too, how to break that system, you know?
that's very important.
Yeah.
Imagine, Kevin, if your kids didn't know keyboard commands.
Oh God.
They were
Imagine
mouse-
I don't think they would be mine at
Imagine
that
what's
point.
going to happen when when you have kids and they're cool and they go hang out with Uncle Nick and they come back and they're like, I need a Mac.
No,
I need a Mac.
No, my kids.
I am an Apple
My kids will be
person.
sitting there.
I'm gonna
being
get
like,
your kid the
wait,
top
I'm
of the
hitting
line
Control
iPhone.
C and it's not working, and you're gonna be like, well,
Apple C.
you have to hit Command C.
No, because what I'll tell them is I was like,
Apple C?
It's either
cool
one.
kids hit Command C.
Yeah, and then
I'll just
they're gonna look at their
slide
Uncle
them
Nick and be
a
like,
really cool silver
Uncle
iPhone.
Nick doesn't know what cool kids are. I'm really uncomfortable.
No,
Pick
I
me
would just
up.
go like this. Here
And
it
you're
is.
like, wait, I'm sorry,
iPhone.
Nick Scarpino's here again? He violated the restraining order again, Paula.
And then you pop up in your kid's
What do you
eyeball,
got?
you're like, run!
What is the breakdown on your kids being vegetarian?
Oh no!
Yeah?
But your
Not
kid
at all. And
needs
I told
animal
her
proteins.
from the very beginning. I was like,
Okay.
hey, you're gonna try to raise them as vegetarians, and if you put in the work, you figure out getting them meals.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, that's what they're gonna eat. But every once in a while, I'm gonna come in with several pounds of whatever animal I've decided on, and I'm gonna cook it up in a great way, and they're gonna be like, this is all I ever want to eat. So I'm letting her, if she wants to
Push this
really push the
nonsense?
vegetarian nonsense, I'm gonna take them to Flavor Country.
Did you see this news report going around today?
No, I
of
did
this, over in, I think it's England. These firefighters saved these piglets or whatever during this farm. All the hay caught on fire, and as a reward, the woman made them into sausage and brought them into the firefighters.
But see, they served a purpose.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Yeah.
they were there for.
Yeah,
It's not like,
exactly.
you fucks almost got barbecued.
But I would have been like, hey, I risked my life to save these things, and you just fucking
I don't know if
slaughtered
it, I
them.
mean that's how the story played out in the first few
Yeah.
graphs. I'm not sure.
I don't
I think
like
it was
that
to save
story.
the farm or
I love
whatever.
that
It's not
story.
just
I
for
don't
the
like it at all.
piglets.
That
Fair
is
enough.
like,
Fair enough.
it's exactly what they were meant for, and like they lived and served their purpose,
But
and now everyone gets
they
to
were
enjoy
too
it.
intimately connected.
See, I think
No, I guarantee you the firemen were like, well, that fucking sucks. It like,
delicious.
I'm sure they weren't excited to save these fucking little piglets.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's at a certain point, like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like the fire, like the thing was coming down and the firefighter like trips and he looks over and Babe, the pig's just staring at him and like he grabs it and they run out and like as the barn explodes and then Babe looks up at him and they lock eyes and then a day later he's eating Babe. Like, I don't think it was like that.
It was like 6
I'm
months.
pretty sure it was exactly that.
6 months later?
How would
Yeah.
it be different?
That's great.
Because
Because
they
firefighters
got
are
big.
this,
I like that it was those specific
cool,
piglets,
we got the
too.
pigs out. And then
Yeah, that's
who
exactly.
cares?
I'm sure that's what I
Most
like.
people don't give a fuck about animals.
If I saw the pig, I don't want to eat the pig.
If the
No, we're
pig
so different.
looked at me and like nudged me, I'd be like, fuck, I can't eat this pig. I can't eat this pig. That's why they say on farms, like, you can't name the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause then you
My
get, like,
uncle's
you-
kids
yeah.
always do. My uncle has like a mansion, and he like part of it is a farm in Peru, and they always name the pigs. And
Don't do it.
every time they have the big party, and they hang up the pig and slit its throat. He's like, you shouldn't have fucking named it. I told you last time not to name it.
Yeah. Yeah.
These kids are 35 years old, and it's the same.
no, I think that it's
I see. I feel like what to back to this topic of conversation. We all jump to iPhones, smart devices. That's what the phones are now. I agree. That's what I would do. I think I'll put restraints on it in terms of what it can and can't do. Mainly, it is a phone or calling or texting, depending on how old the child
Yeah.
is. And then iPad/video game /TV or whatever screen time is not limited. Like you only get. Oh, I've been counting. You've got 15 minutes left of your hour a day. It's just like, are you being social? Are we doing something? How are we making it work? I think that's the way to
I think
start.
the
To
key
start.
is teaching them what to do and how to give them something that they want. Early on, when my dad taught me how to turn on the I don't even know what the machine was called nowadays. Like,
TV.
The cable box, I guess.
Yeah.
But back
Cable
then
box,
it was
that's
like,
right.
but it wasn't cable box. It was something different. Where
TV
you would
tuner.
change change the channels on.
No, it was the cable box.
It wasn't cable box. It was before we had cable. But like just teaching me go to channel 15 for this. Go to channel whatever. Then it's like cool. I'm gonna do that thing because that gets me what I want. Well, I'm not just exploring the world of all the other channels. Those are boring. They're the news. I'm not trying to watch.
Sometimes
that.
it's scrambled porn.
Every Sunday on Nick, it was Nick News with Linda Ellerby.
That's all you needed to do. That's all you needed to
Fuck
know.
that.
They brought you
Shit
right.
was garbage. You liked that?
Nick News, yeah, where they like come together and talk, and they'd have like all the kids on the stumps, and they talk. All right, let's talk about what AIDS is, and they'd be like, all right, what's
Yeah.
AIDS? Yeah. No, that's what you needed. That's why you're fucked up. That's why you're
Can you imagine?
She's like, they're like,
young,
all right,
not that young Greg Miller sitting there being like, oh shit, AIDS.
First thing that Linda Ellerby, was that her
Linda
name?
Ellerby, yeah.
Linda Ellerby's like, all right, cool. First thing we're gonna teach when somebody says AIDS, you don't cheer.
You don't cheer.
Don't cheer AIDS.
They're always cheering shit on Nick. Like,
Yeah,
always cheering shit. Don't cheer for AIDS. Don't cheer for AIDS.
Then they get slimed.
Yeah.
It's just
You gotta
really
go through
drive
some
on the
sort of
point.
weird obstacle course. I don't know. For me, I think I mean I'm conflicted. I agree with Tim. I'm like I think you just got to. The kid's gonna have a phone eventually. Like dive in. But then I also think to myself, I'm like, there's so many other skills, interpersonal skills that I feel like the kid's just not gonna get if they're always attached to their phone. And like I don't know, man. I don't know.
learned my interpersonal friendship connections from AIM. Like, I just don't think that those
Sure.
arguments hold up because I spent
Well, I
so
don't
much
know,
time
because-
playing basketball in the park where I texted my friends, hey, you want to play basketball in the park? You know, like I all those experiences are still being had. You
Sure.
go to playgrounds, there's still kids in playgrounds. You know, you go to other things kids do, like swimming pools and
There's
holes.
still
I don't know
kids
what
in
they
the
do with
swimming
that. I don't
pools.
get
They're
it.
they're still there. If
Somebody
there's a
save these kids.
freaking tree rope swing,
Freaking
I
kids
bet
swinging.
you there's a line of kids waiting to get on that.
There's no line.
But
There's
here's
no
the
line.
difference.
Those little
All those
are
kids are
chaos.
doing all that stuff, and they're holding their phones in their hand. They're communicating with each other through the phones. So it's like
No,
That-
they're
that's
not.
such
They're
a, like,
talking.
exaggerated
that
old
doesn't
person thing to
exaggerate.
say.
Sure, but I see it like I see
Like-
it even with us, right? Like we all do this every time we sit at lunch.
When
we
there's
all
a
pick up
lull,
our phones
though.
and we go to
Yeah.
that because it's way more fun to talk to our phones than it is to talk to me.
Well, I mean,
see how
I
it
don't
is.
think it's way more fun.
Motherfucker.
It's
All
like-
chip on your
I think
shoulder.
we all feel responsibility to be like, oh, I haven't gone through tweets. I know I'm gonna have hella later. I haven't checked my Instagram post. Like, are the
I
numbers?
mean, the other
good?
thing
Yeah.
too is like I understand that the argument people make is like, oh, you're so detached because you're all on your phone or whatever. But it's also the fact that the phone is just the portal to the people who mean the most, right? Like we're out and I love you guys and we run a great business and it's so much fun. But like, oh, hey, Jen's texting and I have something I want to say to Jen that I text her to do it, and it's not like that. But it's also that thing of, oh, you're thinking of your mom or something to say to your mom. You'd say it to her right there, right then. And before it was like wait to get home to make the phone call or just wait to see that person.
Right.
And it's even now where it's like I always love the people are always, you look at the train or whatever, and people are just always on their phone or whatever, and like you go back and like there's that great photo of everyone reading the newspaper on the train, ignoring each other. It's just
Yeah.
like that's where all the information's at your fingertips, but so's every other human being you want to talk to or need to talk to in that moment. And when we are at the lunch, it's like you're done checking in on Twitter because you want to make sure everything's fine, or seeing on Instagram or posting what you just took with Cool Greg. You put it down and you are there when you have something to talk about. But even on the car ride home today, me, Tim, and Joey were not even on our phones at one point. We're all just like sitting there, just like totally spaced for a second of, hey, we don't have to talk to each other right now. We're chilling out. And then I broke the silence and asked Tim something about
If I'm being
Bachelorette.
honest, the Sugar Pine 7 song was stuck in my head, and I didn't want to put it on because I think they would have just got it stuck in everyone else's
My problem / blessing is I still haven't heard this song. So I know
head.
that
At this point, stay away.
Andy and
very
Joey,
good.
they keep every so often
The
picking
video
up
is
parts of it.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. They do great work over there.
Remember when we talked about making music videos for like 3 years?
We've made music videos.
Yeah.
We've made multiple music videos. million+ viewed music videos, I might fucking add.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Click here to subscribe. Click here to see a playlist of other videos. Click here to go to our Patreon page. And click here to go to the Vortex of Darkness. I don't know what it is.